After more than 30 years and a half-dozen delays, Top Gun Maverick is finally set to take off. Here's everything you need to know about Tom Cruise, the new cast, and the triumphant return of Val Kilmer. Fans have been waiting a long time for a sequel to Top Gun. In 2016, 30 years after the movie hit theaters, Tom Cruise cryptically shared on the BBC's Graham Norton show that he and producer Jerry Bruckheimer were discussing making a sequel to the original film.
Is it true there's going to be a Top Gun 2? I know.
Oh. No.
Oh, come on!
A year later, in June 2017, Cruise revealed the title for the sequel, Top Gun Maverick. Shortly after that, he revealed that his Oblivion director Joseph Kosinski had been appointed to helm the sequel. Sadly, original Top Gun director Tony Scott died in 2012. The film was originally set to be released on July 12, 2019, but it was delayed from that release date to allow more time for its cast and crew to work on it. Unfortunately, that was only the first of several delays that have since hit Top Gun Maverick. In April 2020, the film was pushed back from its June release date to a December slot in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Several months later, in July 2020, the call was made to delay Maverick by an entire year, with a new release date set for July 2021. It was then pushed to November 2021, but it didn't make that landing either. In an effort to preserve the movie's chances as a blockbuster theatrical event, Top Gun Maverick became one of the most delayed movies of the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, it looks like audiences' long wait for Top Gun Maverick is finally nearing its end. The movie is scheduled to hit theaters in North America on May 27, 2022, preceded by a world premiere on May 18th at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival in France.
I love aviation. It's a love letter to aviation. So would you all like to see it?
Tom Cruise remained tight-lipped about the film in its early days, not discussing many details about it until he was ready to release a finished trailer. The trailer was so secret that it wasn't even announced in advance. Instead, Cruise released it in July 2019 to a surprised Comic-Con audience, who had gathered for a panel about the sixth movie in the Terminator series, Dark Fate. Unsurprisingly, the trailer doesn't reveal too much. It focuses on Cruise's Maverick, aka Pete Mitchell. In the first film, Mitchell was famous for being brilliant and brave, but difficult to control, hence his call sign. A voiceover from Ed Harris's character implies that 30 years on, he's pretty much the same, earning combat medals and honors along with citations, as Harris puts it. Most telling, however, is that Maverick is still only a captain, just 3 ranks higher than when we last encountered him.
Why is that?
It's one of life's mysteries, sir.
The majority of the trailer is based around a scene of Maverick firing up a jet, interspersed with shots of his interaction with Harris's character. However, there are a few callbacks to the original, through his trademark flight jacket and aviators. Plus, we do briefly meet the next generation of pilots. Like all good trailers, it's enough to get your attention without giving anything away. Football fans and Top Gun fanatics got their next look at Maverick during the Kansas City Chiefs' stunning comeback win at Super Bowl 54 on February 2, 2020. The big game spot delivered a couple of tantalizing hints about what the sequel had in store. For one, Miles Teller's Rooster does not have the same warm and fuzzy feelings about Cruise's Maverick that his dad, Goose, did. Rooster tells Maverick,
My dad believed in you. I'm not going to make the same mistake.
Although Kosinski previously revealed that the pair's relationship will be core to the movie's plot, it's not starting out in a rosy place. Maverick isn't the only target of Rooster's rage, either. In the longer trailers, we see Rooster take a swing at Glen Powell's character, Hangman. Driving home the point that all is not well in the Top Gun team, John Hamm's Vice Admiral tells someone,
I have everything I need to have you court-martialed and dishonorably discharged.
It sounds like something that could conceivably be said to Maverick, but maybe Rooster's outbursts and unresolved anger will make him the new bad boy on the Top Gun team.
After 34 years, Tom Cruise returns as Maverick.
Tom Cruise is, of course, reprising his role as Maverick, bad boy of the skies, and the actor has high demands for the sequel. When he introduced the movie's first trailer, Cruise told the crowd at Comic-Con, In 34 years, you guys have been very, very patient with me. I felt that it was my responsibility to finally really deliver for you. I really wanted to give you all the experience of what it's like to be inside that aircraft.
All of the flying that you see in this picture, everything is real.
Cruise is famous for doing his own stunts, and for the first Top Gun, he made sure that his deal with Paramount included the stipulation that he would be shown flying in an F-14 fighter plane. While skillfully evading questions about the sequel, Cruise has been happy to talk about this intense preparation for the original Top Gun. He told Graham Norton in 2016 that his first time flying in the plane made him throw up, after which his pilot pulled up sharply, leading to an unfortunate cleanup situation. He didn't mention that he nearly drowned when his parachute filled with water during his scene in the ocean. All in a day's work when you're Tom Cruise.
Sometimes when you're flying, you think you're right side up, but you're really upside down.
Really?
Since wrapping up his star-making turn as hard-drinking ad man Don Draper in AMC's Mad Men in 2015, Jon Hamm has traded brooding in the boardroom for guns and glory and thrill-heavy movies. See 2017's Baby Driver or 2018's Beirut and Bad Times at the El Royale for examples of just how well the man can pull off the role of an action hero or villain. Top Gun Maverick seems like another good move for the actor. In an interview with GQ, he gave a bit of a tease about his character Vice Admiral Cyclone, saying, "Yeah, I play the boss, the guy who's shaking his finger and telling Tom Cruise that he's writing checks his body can't cash. It's exciting." Cyclone and Maverick's one-on-one in the trailer also suggests some snarkiness between the two, with the former seeming rather unimpressed with the captain. As for the movie itself, Hamm seems to be just as excited to see the final product as the rest of us. During an interview with People in 2019, he said he'd seen some of the footage and he thought it was out of this world. The actor doing the majority of the narration in the first trailer is Ed Harris, who is most recognizable these days for his role as the Man in Black in Westworld. Harris's casting in Top Gun Maverick was announced in August 2018. The movie feels like a natural fit for Harris. He's played military men before, notably a notorious German sniper in Enemy at the Gates and a rogue US general in The Rock. As with Hamm, it's unclear exactly who Harris's character is, or what his relationship to Maverick is. Based on the 2 stars on his collar, visible in the trailer, he appears to be playing a rear admiral, which puts him a rank below Hamm's vice admiral and 2 ranks above Cruise's captain. As for what the rest of his role entails, we'll have to sit tight to find out.
Yet you can't get a promotion, you won't retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die.
Jennifer Connelly's role in the film was confirmed in July 2018, a month before Hamm and Harris were reported as signing on. Connelly has previously co-starred with Ed Harris in A Beautiful Mind. She's also worked with director Joseph Kosinski before, on 2017's Only the Brave. At Comic-Con in 2019, Connelly said of filming, "All of it was surreal. It was so exciting for me to be a part of it. I had an amazing time shooting it. It exceeded my expectations working on the film, and seeing the footage that I've seen so far, it's pretty extraordinary. It's been a really wonderful experience for me." She also praised Cruise, saying that he was extraordinary to work with and exceptionally kind. Although Paramount hasn't revealed exactly who she'll be playing, Variety reported that she's expected to be a single mom running a bar near the base. We also know that Connelly spent a significant amount of time on the back of Maverick's motorbike, which heavily suggests that her character could be the pilot's new love interest. If you're wondering what happened to Maverick's previous flame, flight instructor Charlie Blackwood, you're not the only one. Kelly McGillis, who played Charlie, told Entertainment Tonight that she was never contacted by anyone regarding the new film.
Where did you see this?
That's classified.
In Top Gun Maverick, Miles Teller will be playing Bradley Bradshaw, the son of Maverick's late colleague Nick Goose Bradshaw. Bradley is now in training to become a fighter pilot. Even in the trailer, there's significant tension between the two characters. Teller went through a significant physical transformation to take on the part, and we're not just talking about getting into great shape. Judging by his brief appearances in the trailers, Teller grew a mustache very similar to the one sported by Anthony Edwards, who played the role of Goose in the original movie. Even though Teller has clearly been hitting the gym, he admitted that he struggled to keep up with Cruise, who is 25 years his senior. In June 2019, he told The Wrap, "I'm sure a lot of people can do it for a couple days or a week, but can you do it month after month after month? There's been nothing on this film that didn't take a lot of training to accomplish. I got a master class on how to make a movie." To work with someone who is so meticulous on every aspect, literally every detail that guy is dialed in on, and anybody who works with him is fortunate. Alongside Cruise, the only other Top Gun actor we know is returning for the sequel is Val Kilmer, who played Maverick's rival and would-be wingman Tom Iceman Kazansky. However, there's already a fan theory that suggests that Iceman is going to die in the sequel. In footage released so far, we see Maverick attending a funeral, which definitely means that someone's going down. The fact that Kilmer's character failed to appear in any of the trailers implies to pessimistic fans that it has to be Iceman in the coffin. Regardless of his character's potential fate, it'll be good to see Kilmer back on screen. The actor has been largely out of the public eye in recent years after spending 2 years between 2015 and 2017 battling throat cancer, with an operation on his trachea affecting his voice and leaving him short of breath. In 2021, a documentary revealed that he now talks with the help of an electronic device. Prior to the release of that documentary, Kilmer expressed excitement for Top Gun Maverick, telling The Hollywood Reporter in 2019, "It will be a great film, I promise. This time around had me laughing with Tom like a high schooler. He's so funny. I hope he saved the world enough to take a decade and reestablish himself as a great comedian, as he has it in him." While Miles Teller ultimately emerged victorious in the dogfight for the major role of Bradley Bradshaw, another contender was granted a pretty impressive consolation prize. You may know up-and-comer Glen Powell's face from his small but important role as astronaut John Glenn in Hidden Figures, or from the Richard Linklater-directed Everybody Wants Some. He's most recently been finding fans as a romantic lead in the Netflix original movies Set It Up and the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. After it was confirmed that Teller would play Bradshaw in the Top Gun sequel, Powell joked on Twitter, "I'm taking down all the Tom Cruise posters in my bedroom. Maybe I'll leave one. 2 for symmetry. Okay, the posters are staying." However, he quickly found a reason to keep those posters up. As part of his audition process, Powell had flown to Cruise's home in Clearwater, Florida. The movie's producers, including Cruise, decided that they liked Powell so much that they would be casting him in a different role and even beefing it up for him. His appearance in the trailer has already made an impression.
What do we have here? God, here I thought we were special.
Some viewers may recognize Jay Ellis as a clueless tech bro Lawrence on HBO's Insecure, but Top Gun Maverick brings the actor slightly closer to his roots, since Ellis grew up in a military family. However, as he made clear to Jimmy Kimmel in 2018, his family were Air Force, not Navy like the fighter pilots in the film. He explained,
I called him and I said, "Hey, I booked Top Gun." He goes, "Oh man, it's the Navy, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it's also Top Gun." And he's like, "No, that's cool."
Ellis, who appears to be playing a young recruit, also gushed over working with Tom Cruise. He said, "He has this ability to look you in the eye and make you feel like you're the prettiest girl in the room. Nicest, most genuine, giving, open guy. I've never worked with anyone who's like, listen, if you need anything, truly pick up the phone and call. I'm going to show you every single thing I know. It's really amazing." A few months later, he echoed Hamm and Connolly's predictions for the audience's reactions, telling Entertainment Tonight that Top Gun Maverick was going to blow people's minds. Depending on your TV preferences, you may know Monica Barbaro from Season 2 of Unreal, a dark comedy about the making of a fictional reality TV show, or from criminal justice series like Chicago PD, Chicago Justice, or The Good Cop. If you don't recognize her, consider this her breakout moment. In August 2018, Variety reported that Barbaro would be playing a fighter pilot with the call sign Phoenix, a love interest to Teller's character. From the trailers, she looks like one of many new members to this batch of ace Top Gun pilots, alongside Charles Parnell, Bashir Salahuddin, and Danny Ramirez. As with every Tom Cruise movie these days, details on the plot of Top Gun Maverick are being held close to the vest. At Comic-Con, Cruise limited his comments, saying simply, "Top Gun is about family, about sacrifice, and it's about aviation." All of which, frankly, we could have guessed. However, we have got a few tidbits of the story to work with. First of all, there's a strong implication that Maverick's persistent daredevil antics are putting him behind the times. In the trailer, Ed Harris's Rear Admiral tells him,
"The end is inevitable, Maverick. You're kind of headed for extinction."
Further reports suggest that the plot revolves around the captain's role as a mentor to the new recruits, as he tries to come to terms with technical advances like drones that could make skill sets and attitudes like his obsolete. Additionally, per the film's official synopsis, Maverick is drawn into a confrontation with his own deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those who will be chosen to fly it. However, before you worry that we're going to see people with remote controls instead of cockpit controls, director Joseph Kosinski has already quashed rumors that drones will play a big role. In 2017, he told Cinema Blend, "Personally, I would never want to see a movie about drones. For me, Top Gun has always been about fighter planes. It's been about fighter pilots." The second Maverick trailer landed on December 16, 2019, and in addition to more shots of incredible stunts, it brought fresh clues about the potential plots and some of the characters. The voiceover confirms that Maverick is returning as an instructor, and while we aren't told where he's been, a scene at the end implies that he's been working as a test pilot. We also get more clarity on some of his pupils. The call sign of Monica Barbaro's character is Phoenix, Danny Ramirez is Fanboy, and Miles Teller's Bradley Bradshaw is Rooster, a suitably bird-related tribute to the character's father. Hopefully, Rooster's flying attempts are more successful than his namesakes were. The trailer also nods at Goose's fate in a few more moments. When the voiceover says that Maverick's lessons could be the difference between life and death, we cut to Rooster, clearly with his father on his mind. Rooster also starts a fight in a classroom, so it's clear that the character has some pent-up emotions to wrestle with. And the moment in the trailer when a jet loses one of its engines is a clear callback to Goose's death. Speaking of emotions, the trailer confirms another plot point that the first teaser hinted at. We know that a character who served in the Navy dies, thanks to an extended view of the funeral. It's not a whole lot more to go on, but it's got us feeling the need for a sequel, with Maverick-inspired levels of impatience. After months of keeping all things Top Gun 2 top secret, in January 2022, director Joseph Kosinski teased more of the plot, shared some photos, and confirmed the new pilots' names.
Fellas, this here's Bagman.
Hangman.
Whatever.
In addition to Teller's Rooster, Barbaro's Phoenix, and Ramirez's Fanboy, Glen Powell's character's call sign is Hangman, Jay Ellis is playing Payback, and Lewis Pullman is Bob. The director told Entertainment Weekly that this batch of young pilots have already graduated from Top Gun and are returning to school for a special training detachment. They're at a higher level than the students in the first film, which means more impressive maneuvers for the audience and truly terrifying training for the actors. Kaczynski revealed that Cruise himself designed an aerial training course to prepare them. When they were ready, the team rigged 6 IMAX-quality cameras in the cockpit of each actor's F-18 Super Hornet to capture them as they pretended to fly the plane. The real job was actually left to a Navy pilot. As Cruise found on the first film, being tossed around like this takes a physical toll. Kaczynski admitted that some of the actors occasionally threw up. Away from the action, he offered one other insight into the movie's story. Rooster and Maverick's relationship is the film's emotional core. Fly all the planes you want, but no amount of preparation will get you ready to relive the emotional swings of Maverick and Goose. Although the costumes from Top Gun are some of the most iconic in Hollywood history, one of the film's most famous and enduring scenes involved very few clothes. That would be the scene showing the pilots blowing off steam with a game of shirtless volleyball. In the documentary Danger Zone, the making of Top Gun, director Tony Scott joked about the scene, reminiscing about the time that he got the guys to get all their gear off to get sprayed down with baby oil. Even decades later, the scene is a topic of discussion and parody that even the movie's director has a hard time taking seriously.
I didn't have a vision about what I was doing other than just doing soft porn.
With all this in mind, it makes sense that the Top Gun Maverick promos would promise us a return to the volleyball court, or maybe this time the football field. In the sequel's first trailer, we see Glen Powell's character shirtless and silhouetted against the sun, spinning a football in his finger, before cutting to a scene of him mimicking Slider's roar from the original movie. So even if the sport has changed, it looks like there's still time for fun and games at Top Gun. Let's talk about some jacket controversy. Maverick's classic fur-collared leather aviator jacket became an icon in its own right after the first movie, so you'd think fans would be pleased to see an old friend returning for the trailer. However, the jacket's appearance caused a stir among eagle-eyed viewers, thanks to the patches on the back. In the original Top Gun, the patch on the back of the jacket bears 4 rectangles, including the Taiwanese flag and the Japanese flag. In the trailer for Top Gun Maverick, when Maverick puts on the jacket, these flags have been replaced with 2 similar-looking designs in the same color schemes. So what's the big deal? Some fans suggested that this was a political decision and not a costuming one. Top Gun Maverick is partly funded by Chinese internet company Tencent. China has a tense history with Japan and doesn't recognize Taiwan as independent, so it may be that Tencent wasn't big on seeing a portrayal of an alliance between those two countries and the US Navy. However, at least one former naval pilot, Ward Carroll, has dismissed the suggestion, pointing out via Twitter that the Top Gun patches are notoriously haphazard anyway, meaning that this latest alteration could just be for looks. In Top Gun Maverick, there's no hot air around those stunts, as Tom Cruise assured his Comic-Con audience.
And everything you see in this film, obviously, it's for real.
John Hamm echoed the assertion, telling people, "The aerial footage is mind-blowing, and it's mostly practical. There's not a lot of CG. Those guys are really up in planes and getting thrown around in multiple Gs." And it wasn't just the planes. Jennifer Connelly said that she and Cruise really rode Maverick's motorcycle. She said, "He's an excellent motorcyclist. I have to say, every single time he stops exactly on the mark, like an inch from the curb. Very skilled." Just as Cruise learned to fly in the F-14s, he made sure the rest of the cast could handle the impact for themselves. He told Conan O'Brien,
"We hired incredible actors, great cast, brilliant, but they also had to be able to fly in the airplane. So we had to train them."
Cruise said all the actors were tested to see if they could handle the G-forces that fighter pilots experience. Plus, the crew had to train the fighter pilots who were really flying the planes about filmmaking techniques. Getting to the rank of captain in the US Navy is nothing to sneeze at, as Cruise himself pointed out.
We were working with the Navy, incredible pilots, greatest fighter pilots in the world.
And yet, over 30 years into his distinguished service, why Maverick is still not a higher rank is not just a question that's troubling Ed Harris's Rear Admiral.
You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now. Yet here you are. Captain.
It's something real-life naval officers have wondered too. Luckily, one stepped in to answer. According to Navy Personnel Command, there are 3 reasons why Maverick could still be a captain. The first, and probably least likely, is that he started out as an enlisted, and thus not in the officer branch that leads to the higher ranks. The first movie kind of disproves this, though, since he was a lieutenant in 1986. He could also technically have retired but been retained, something that rarely happens, and which runs counter to the Rear Admiral's statement that Maverick won't retire. The most likely thing is that he could have taken some time off, perhaps after Goose's death. A break in service could mean forfeiting promotion. Or it could just be that he really likes the hands-on job of flying planes more than he wants to be a well-paid manager. We may get our answer when the movie comes out, or it could just remain one of life's mysteries. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.